Hello people, welcome to the next part of my playthrough of Final Fantasy X. So for this video, so last video I showed you some tips on how to level up quickly using the monster arena. For this video I'd like to show you some tips on how to, it's basically like sphere grid admin if you like, how to use it effectively and how to make the best use of like empty nodes, and also just to make it a bit more efficient if you like. Once you've unlocked everything, well, almost everything in the monster arena, the only thing you're still waiting for is something called the Nemesis, but we'll talk more about that in another video. Although it's basically what that thing is, and you will only get that once you've beaten all the area conquests, all the species conquests, and all the original monsters at least once. Once you've unlocked everything you can, the guy will sell you something. I'll show you. So these things, clear spheres. I've already bought a few and started using them effectively in the sphere grid. But clear spheres they'll clear nodes from the sphere grids. And if you're wanting to use the sphere grid efficiently, I'll show you here on Titus because he's stuck with if you want to use it efficiently, you'll probably want to get rid of the nodes that are just like +1. So there he's on a strength +1 sphere, which is crap. So I'm going to use a clear sphere, get rid of that, because +1 is rubbish. And I'm also going to get rid of the +2 ones, because that's not that great either. Also I'm going to go back down here because I remember this area from right at the beginning of the game, which was all +1 things. I'm going to clear some of them as well because they're crap. And then I'll get rid of any other +1 spheres that were... I suppose if you're really serious, you'll probably want to get rid of the +3 spheres because you're going to start getting +4 things, which I'll talk to you about in a second. And if you're... The other thing you'll want to get rid of, keep all the MP +40. You'll want to get rid of any MP +10 spheres, and you could probably get away with getting rid of all the MP +20 spheres and just keeping MP +40 spheres, nodes even. So that's some what you can do to maximise your space on your sphere grid. So for the next thing I want to show you is the species conquests are how you get extra spheres for the sphere grid. So the easiest things to get, I'll tell you, the Fenrir, that's the ultimate wolf, that'll drop agility spheres, but that is a really difficult one to get because the Fenrir is very evasive and he's got a lot of hit points. So a tip for that, if you're wanting to farm some of them early, Anima's Overdrive will help you with that. In fact, Anima's Overdrive can help you with a lot of early grinding that. The Ornitholestis, it doesn't drop any spheres. That's the ultimate lizard. I can't remember what it drops, but it's whatever it is, it's crap. The Pteryx, that's the ultimate bird. Now that's relatively easy in that it only takes 2 hard hits and it dies, but it's very, very evasive but it will drop you accuracy spheres. So you'll no, it will drop you evasion spheres. Sorry, the Hornet is what drops you accuracy spheres. That's the ultimate wasp, and that's also quite evasive. It's not as bad as the Teryx. The Teryx has super high evasion, and the Hornet's got relatively high evasion, and it's also got a few more hit points than most of the other monsters here. So watch that. The Vedatu is that's the ultimate imp. He drops MP spheres, and he's pretty easy to beat. Couple of hits, but another thing is he's quite evasive as well. One Eye, I was showing you that in the last video for how to get a triple AP weapons, but he also drops magic defense spheres, and relatively evasive, but not that evasive. But the Jumbo Flan, that is a tricky one, because in fact I'll just show you. I'll talk to you about the second page in a second, but let me show you the Jumbo Flan. Oh, great, ambushed. So the Jumbo Flan is what you need to get magic spheres, and you face one problem with this. I'll show you. He is immune to physical attacks. So don't try and attack him, because it won't be effective. And also it's in a constant reflect status, so if you're wanting to attack it with just your main characters, what you'll need to do is cast reflect onto someone, and then just use I should probably show you, but I'll show you that tip in a second. But God, that thing really doesn't like Waka, does it? I'll just quickly show you that little tip I was telling you about. So if you have someone with the reflect spell, type has got it. Just get it to cast on anyone. Let's go for Waka in this case. You've probably seen some of the other monsters doing this, but to hit it with magic spells, you'll need to cast your magic onto the person who has reflect, and it will reflect off them and hit them on. We'll hit that monster. But I don't think that's a particularly effective spell unless you've got really, really high magic. So I'm going to show you a better tip. Bring Una in and get her to summon Anima. By the way, Anima's overdrive is going to be completely ineffective here, because it's immune to physical attacks, so don't bother with wasting the overdrive on that. So what you want to do, first of all, cast haste onto Anima. Then cast excuse me just one second. Hi there, sorry about that little delay, the phone went. I've cast Haste onto Anima. Another thing you want to cast is Shell to protect from, and also Regen as well, because Anima's going to be taking a few hits here. And also in the early stages, it's a good idea to use focus on Animus to increase her magic defense. Because flat very heavy. So yeah, I think I mentioned in a previous video with those things that increase like cheer and focus and aim, you can stack them about 6 times, even at maximum magic, maximum defense, etc. Best tip to get to deal with the Jumbo Flan, once you've buffed up a bit, use Pain. Because it's the one thing, it's a magic attack, so it won't be immune to it, and also it does maximum damage. Now obviously, yeah, against ordinary enemies it would inflict death, but because as you'd imagine it's a super strong enemy, it's immune to death and pretty much everything else. So the Jumbo Flan has got quite a lot of hit points, so you will need to cast that Pain spell a lot. And another thing to watch with fighting the Jumbo Flan, near the end of the fight, what it might do is cast Reflect onto Anima, and then it will reflect back Curaga or Regen onto itself. But you just counteract that with Dispel. And also, if you're like this, yeah. But if it casts Regen on itself, yeah, just cast Dispel. I'm sure. Anima's got Dispel. So yeah, just keep spamming Pain. But yeah, in the early stages, you'll want to keep an eye on Anima's HP, because early stages, our magic defense will be quite low and our HP will be quite low. But as long as you buff up correctly, you shouldn't have too much of an issue. Animus. HP's in the yellow, better keep a close eye on that. And obviously with having shell on her, Curaga won't be as effective, but it's still going to cure her a little bit. Oh, and you just... Okay. And I just got caught by the reflect trick, so I'm going to have to do this. It's better. It's dead. So I know that's a bit long-winded, but that is really the best way to defeat the Jumbo Flan, and you get 2 magic spheres for it. So just quickly heal up, and then I'll talk to you about the species conquest on the second page. Now, Nega Elemental doesn't drop anything. Tanka is the ultimate shelled monster that drops defense spheres. Now that's obviously because that's armoured, you'll need to use armour break, and like most of the things in this arena, armour break doesn't always work first time, so you might have to spam armour break on it before you can start doing effective damage to it. So just watch that. And that's the same with quite a few the other enemies affected by that, and Fafnir, the Juggernaut, and the Ironclad, which I'm going to talk about the Fafnir next. Now that doesn't drop any spheres, but I think that drops one of the curtains. I think it's light curtains it drops. The Sleep Sprout, I mentioned it in the last video, that drops teleport spheres, so that's one to, and it also only takes one hard hit to kill it. So that's one you'll want to spam if you want to get loads of teleport spheres for effective sort of jumping around amongst around the sphere grid. Oh, excuse me. Oh, wake up. Bomb King doesn't drop any special spheres, and I don't think it drops anything exciting at all, so let's just not bother with it. The Juggernaut is the ultimate horned beast, and that drops strength spheres. That's got quite a high amount of hit points, and quite high defense, so you'll need to that's another one you'll need to spam with armor break until it finally breaks. And Ironclad is the ultimate Iron Giant. That's another one that you'll need to spam armor break on, and also that has got a ridiculously high amount of HP, and also it counters every attack, so to farm that effectively you'll need high strength, high evasion, and high agility to get loads and loads of hits in on it, because it does an attack called Repageki, I think it's called, which basically will take all your characters' magic points and quite a lot of their hit points, and even at high levels that'll still hit hard. So that's I'll talk more about them in another video, but the other ones I want to I'll show you some of the easier ones. So I know you've already seen this, but I'll show you the one eye. That's the one you farm for magic defense spheres. You want to quick hit. Oh. Maybe this wasn't the best idea to have Yuna and Lulu, who are very heavily reliant on magic. In fact, I'm a little worried this isn't going to work as a... let's bring Riku in. I think she's high enough. Oh fuck. Okay, right, you're going to see what happens when you don't organise this properly. Yeah, this group's pretty much doomed now. because Black Stairwell does a high amount of damage, and that's it. Everyone's gone. Okay, well, the plus side, because it's the monster arena, nobody... Yeah, when you get knocked out in the monster arena, you don't die, so that's small mercies, so let's try that again. And you better not ambush me this time. But we've got high hitters this time, and hasting on them will help effectively. And in fact, if you're really serious about leveling up and stuff like that, these three characters are people you'll want to level up very high. To farm the Shinryu, that's the underwater boss in the original creations in the monster arena, and every time you kill it, it drops wings to discovery. There we go, 2 magic defense spheres. So the next one, I'll just show you a couple more. I'll show you the Vidatu. That's the ultimate imp. And as you can see, that's got null all, a constant null all effect. And if you don't have high accuracy, it's a nuisance because it's got high evasion. Other than that, yeah, we'll just spam it with quick hit. Oh. If need be, use aim. Use a couple of aims to increase your accuracy. And also, if need be, don't be afraid to just use overdrives. But there we go, it only takes a couple of hits, and even though it's in a constant regen state, and there you go, 2 MP spheres. I'll just show you one more. I'll show you the Eric's. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this probably got one of the highest evasion stats out of all the species conquests, because it can just pretty much avoid just about any attack. But if you're leveled up well enough, it will only take... I'm gonna use Blitzies. If you're leveled up well enough, it will only take 2 hits to kill. Hoping that Tidus's level is high enough that it can take this out with Blitzies. There we go. Overkill. Yeah. And 2 evasion spheres. I'm just going to show you one more thing. Now, I know I mentioned the Fenrir is incredibly difficult because it has super high evasion. In fact, probably a higher evasion than the Terex. I know I just contradicted what I just said there. But yeah, just to show you how evasive. Let's try. Yeah, it is super high. So what your best thing to do, summon Anima and just overdrive it, and that should kill it effectively. So you might have to do this quite if you're in the early stages and you're wanting to get more spheres from the tougher enemies, feel free to spam them with overdrives. Particularly effective overdrives, obviously Animus, because it does maximum damage, and also the Magus Sisters overdrive can really help as well. That's quite a highly damaging one. But there we go, agility spheres. So that's all I want to show you for this video. I'll talk more about some of the other monsters in this arena in the next video. In fact, what I might do in the next video is go through each of the sort of sections, the area conquest and the species conquest in more detail, and just sort of give you tips on how to defeat them and stuff like that. But in the meantime, thanks very much for watching. I'll see you again soon for another video. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.